Hello, friends. Is it necessary to punish and take revenge on cheaters? Life will put everything in its place by itself. Today's story is about that. Let's hear it. It's hard to believe that 5 years have flown by since we exchanged our vows. Our family has grown since then, and we now have a beautiful 4-year-old child together. My wife also has 2 preteen children from a previous marriage, making our family a lively bunch. A few months ago, we visited the mechanic shop to get the car serviced, and I noticed my wife getting a little too chatty with one of the mechanics. I ended up joining in on the conversation after realizing that he was a fellow Raiders fan, just like me. As much as I'd like to spend more time at home with my family, my job demands me to work 10-hour shifts, which my wife despises. Despite that, she has chosen to be a stay-at-home wife, and I appreciate the sacrifices she makes to keep our family running smoothly. As the sole bill payer, I had to be away frequently. During one of my absences, my wife began seeing a man we had met at the car shop. Unbeknownst to me, this continued on a daily basis for 3 weeks while I was at work. Upon returning home, I received a text from her stating that she had left and fallen in love with him, believing he was her soulmate. Upon investigating further, I discovered that he had no place to stay, and they were living in the car that I paid for, moving from park to park. The most disheartening part of this situation is that she abandoned our 4-year-old child. She took our 2 children, who are not biologically mine. She went so far as to block me on all social networks. Family members have shown me posts of her expressing how happy she is with her new lover. This has caused me immense emotional pain, making it difficult to eat, sleep, or focus on work. To make matters worse, my daughter cries every night due to the separation. Thankfully, my sisters and mother have stepped in to provide full-time care for her while I work. It feels as though I am in a state of numbness, unsure of what I did to deserve this. I always took care of her and our family. I loved my wife unconditionally, even when she was unwell, and I treated her children as my own. The only issue she had with me was that I worked too much and couldn't give her enough time. Unfortunately, I am the only one responsible for paying the bills, which makes it incredibly challenging. The worst part of this ordeal happened last night when she arrived at my door with the police. Thankfully, her daughter was asleep, but it was a traumatic experience. She collected some of her belongings and instructed me to discard the rest, stating that she would never return. Looking out, I noticed her lover sitting in the passenger seat of my car. I was extremely furious and overwhelmed with emotions. The situation was exacerbated by the fact that she had the nerve to send me a text message this morning, requesting gas money and asking if I could cover the car note. She made it clear that she would only agree to meet me in person if I provided her with those funds. I chose not to respond to her request, and now I am left feeling completely numb. I completely comprehend that I have been diligently working for an extensive period of time, and as a result, I was unable to extend an invitation to my wife for any extravagant dates or a visit to the cinema. Nonetheless, I would like to emphasize that we have never experienced any shortage of food, and we are blessed with a stunning abode. I have always prioritized fulfilling any request that my beloved wife has made, but I do wish that she had communicated any concerns or issues to me earlier, so that I could have put forth more effort into being a better spouse and father. I considered myself to be one of the luckiest people in the world for being married to someone as stunning as her. But my perception of our relationship has undergone a drastic shift. I received a voice message from her with tears in her eyes, in which she begged me to meet her at a gas station near our house. Despite my initial reluctance to accede to her request, I eventually gave in, recognizing that I am only human and that I do love her. Upon my arrival at the gas station, I was taken aback by what I saw. As I gazed upon her, I couldn't help but wonder if the rumors were true. The rumors that suggested she might be using prohibited substances. Others had warned me about this, but I had always brushed it off as mere gossip. But now that I was staring at her, I couldn't help but feel a sense of unease. My spouse, who was already of a diminutive stature, appeared even more emaciated and fragile. She used to dress impeccably, even in casual clothing, but now she appears disheveled and unkempt in sweat-stained attire. When I encountered her, she was in the company of her new partner and our children. I gave her a sum of $200 to cover their food and gas expenses. I requested if I could take the kids with me so that they could attend school or be picked up by her family, but she adamantly refused. She claimed that I was no longer responsible for them, which was a crushing blow to my heart, given that I had served as their father figure for the past 5 years. The children, who have always called me Dad, hold an extremely special place in my heart and soul, as I cherish them beyond measure. Regrettably, my spouse refused to divulge whether or not the children were attending school, leading me to take matters into my own hands and contact Child Protective Services today, leaving a detailed voicemail for them. During our exchange, I reminded her that she has another child, to which she acknowledged, but expressed that she did not want to be a part of her life at this moment in time and suggested that I move on. She even went as far as to state that the child would be better off with me. Inquiring about her feelings toward her paramour, I asked if she loved him. She confirmed my suspicions, but didn't provide any further details. After this, I decided to bring up the topic of divorce, but to my dismay, she refused to discuss it, stating that she had no intention of ending our marriage. This reaction did not come as a surprise to me, given her previous behavior. Consequently, I've begun seeking legal advice. Recently, she made a demand that I pay the car note by Friday, as well as her phone bill. I declined, stating that I would not be responsible for either of those expenses. In response, she stated that her partner would cover her phone bill, but that I still needed to pay for the car note, as it was my vehicle. Despite the fact that the car is registered under my name, I have a premonition that a disagreement will arise in the future, yet I am resolved to avoid any conflicts that may arise. With a heavy heart, I said my goodbyes and departed. The most peculiar moment came when she shouted, "I love you," as I walked away, but I chose not to acknowledge it. That was the last straw for me. As my birthday is fast approaching, I have plans to celebrate with my children by taking them out to dine at my preferred steakhouse. I extended an invitation to my spouse and her family to join us, but she declined without any hesitation. When I asked her if she was genuinely sleeping in parks, she became irate and sternly instructed me to refrain from interfering in her personal affairs. I'm grateful to everyone who provided me with valuable advice. Although I was apprehensive, I eventually decided to contact Child Protective Services. I foresee that this will be a long and arduous battle that will take a significant emotional toll, a struggle that I have already mentally prepared myself for. Update. On the evening of Friday, my spouse arrived at my doorstep and demanded immediate payment for the car. Despite her forceful insistence, I firmly refused to comply. Furthermore, she attempted to initiate a conversation about the possibility of reconciliation between us, but I rebuffed her advances, informing her that I was not interested in patching things up at that particular moment and that I did not want her presence there. As a result, I politely requested that she vacate the premises. I clearly communicated to her that I did not have the necessary funds to make the car payment, and therefore, I had no intention of paying it. Despite my repeated requests for her to leave, she obstinately refused and even brought the children inside the house with her. In desperation, I contacted the police for assistance, and upon their arrival, I explained the entire situation to them. Despite her claims that the house was her property, the police instructed her to leave, and she reluctantly complied. Before departing, she informed me that she would file for divorce on Monday, but I promptly informed her that I had already hired a lawyer to handle the matter. As she drove away, I noticed a van parked at the end of the driveway, which turned out to be her companion who had been waiting for her. Thankfully, our daughter was spending the weekend with my mother and was not present during the tumultuous events that unfolded. Her mother did not even bother to inquire about her well-being or whereabouts. I brought to the attention of the police that my children were presently residing in her vehicle and implored them to inspect it, given that she had all of her belongings and even her pet dog in the back seat. However, she blatantly lied and insisted that they were staying in a motel and that all of the items in her car were taken from the house. She engaged in a conversation with the police outside, trying to convince them of her fabricated story. The drama has become too much for me to handle. When she entered the house, her behavior was peculiar. It was nighttime, and she was wearing sunglasses. I requested that she remove them, and it appeared as if she had a black eye. I inquired about it, and she claimed that it was due to sleep deprivation. Nevertheless, she seemed to be in better shape than the last time I saw her. As for the car payment, I refused to pay it, but I'm experiencing guilt. While some individuals recommended that I report it as stolen, I'm hesitant to do so since my children are undergoing an extremely traumatic period. The principal of the school and CPS have been made aware of the situation and possess all the relevant information. While I wouldn't mind taking the kids in and raising them myself, I believe that they would be better off with her family at the moment since they are cognizant of the circumstances. However, tonight, I received a message from her asking me to pay for my daughter's medicine since they were all exhibiting symptoms of COVID or the flu. Initially, I considered blocking her, but for some unknown reason, I couldn't bring myself to do it. Nonetheless, I decided to ignore the message. Then, my daughter called me. As I spoke with her on the phone, I couldn't help but notice the stuffy tone in her voice. Deciding to meet up in person, I suggested we meet at the local CVS. She agreed, and we proceeded to meet there. Wanting to do something nice, I bought some things for her. Additionally, I bought them some food to enjoy. As we conversed, she asked if we could talk about something serious. Feeling uneasy, I declined her request. Once I arrived home, I received a text from her phone, but it was actually my son who had sent it. He asked if he could visit me next week, to which I replied that I wasn't sure, and advised him to focus on his studies. The entire ordeal was emotionally draining, and I contemplated blocking her number until I could speak with my lawyer next week. I am experiencing an overwhelming sense of guilt for failing to make the necessary payment for my automobile, yet I remain steadfast in my decision to not fulfill this obligation. Wow, how will this story end? The sequel will be released in 5 hours on my channel. Well, if you are lucky and you watch this video later, then you will find the continuation by following the link in the description under the video. Bye-bye, friends.